right, the players are gearing up for the deciding game in this series. The Mysterious Monkeys have yet to take down one of the top teams. They finally got a chance here, Vedius. They are one destroyed Nexus away from beating the UOL.
And continuing the day of upsets, NIP, spoiler alert, did in fact win this series earlier in the day.
Someone's going to watch the VOD like 3 days from now and just be like, damn it, Vedius.
Sorry, guys, I did give you that spoiler alert.
Watch that one first.
Paused it.
That's okay, it happens.
But now Mysterious Monkeys have that opportunity, and the Unicorns of Love, it's frustrating, Pyra. They're still making the same kind of mistakes. They take those gamble plays, right? And having spoken with them, they always say, it was the right move. We made the right decision, but it was poorly executed. And I'm like, yeah, you know, if your AD carry has no mana, you don't have your mid laner, and you don't fully understand where the enemy AD carry is, I don't know if that was the right move.
Well, let's see if they learn the errors of their ways as we enter pick and ban for the final time tonight.
Well, now they are on blue side, so at the very least, Mysterious Monkeys very likely to ban away the Kalista, so a pick that Yuki definitely had a great performance on will be taken away. And Unicorns can look to get themselves an early Talon if they want. And it's a question of whether or not Mysterious Monkeys want to try and ban it away, because Unicorns, they can just early pick the Cho'gath. I think it would be smart for Mysterious Monkeys to ban that away right now. Yeah,
the Caitlyn was the one that they banned, and of course, the Unicorns on their side, they got rid of the Alistar and now the Thresh. So 2 support bans targeted at Dreams. Last time, remember, on that cow, he was doing well. And remember, the cowbell, that was the key to success.
It was. We now have undeniable proof that cowbells do, in fact, result in success. So Kalista was the choice of bans, exactly the same bans. I'm expecting the same sort of picks here. They go for the Cho'gath. Now, what they could do, Mysterious Monkeys, is to get themselves an early Gnar. Make sure that Kikis has a favorable matchup, you still have strong team fighting, and then you can round things out with the Maokai as well, so that you still have that strong topside presence coming out from Kikis and Amazing.
That's always a possibility. You know, the Maokai was a large part of their success, so they will lock that in. And it looks like they might be opting into the Braum early pickups. They really want to make sure Dreams has something he can disengage with. No, it's the Rakan again.
So they are going with exactly the same draft that they went with in Game 1. If we've got anything to go by, it'll be a Jhin Braum coming out from the Unicorns of Love this time around. I think this is a bit of a gamble from the Mysterious Monkeys. I think the Braum would have been a much safer option, but Mysterious Monkeys are saying, you know what, we value the engage more than the ability to peel and disengage. So let's see how it works out for them coming into Game 2.
2 more seconds. Unicorns really letting this one go down to the wire, and they lock the Talon. Exileh just says, I don't care what you're playing, Cozq. I'm going to delete people.
Always a risk early rotating the Talon. What we saw come out from Caps was the Casio. Not only is it one of Cozq's comfort picks, but also we saw him have a great Game 2 with it as well. So I would not be surprised if Mysterious Monkeys went for an early Casio themselves.
All right, so the Unicorns have decided to pick the Xayah away, separate the lovers in this one. What are the Monkeys going to pick up? Do they take the Cassiopeia, as you were alluding to?
So this is fascinating now, because if you go for the Casio, then the AD carry pools become very limited, and you don't have many great choices for what goes well with the Rakan. Ooh, and the Vladimir coming out as well. Okay, so we can talk a little bit more about this matchup later on, but this is definitely a proactive move. Remember, early on in the day, we saw the Vlad come out in the second rotation of bans from the Unicorns of Love, and then they picked the Talon. So it's definitely considered a counter pick, at the very least, by Exileh, and it's something that Cozq has brought out during the regular season. So again, we'll expand more upon it once we actually get into game.
Yep, Braum is now banned as we enter ban phase 2 on the Mysterious Monkey side. And there goes Gnar. So Monkeys, all bets on that. Vladimir focusing instead of the top on the mid lane. We'll see what they decide to ban away again. Do they hit Hylissang's pool? And it is the Taric. 2 fabulous bare-chested men banned out.
Fascinated as to what AD carries now. Oh, okay, Varus, perfectly fine all-in champion.
Okay.
I think it works just nicely. You don't have the same sort of reliable follow-up in the sense that you have a huge amount of ability to close the gap, but you've got decent range, you've got the ulti to follow up, you've got the E to do a fair amount of burst damage. I think it's absolutely fine. You just can't take advantage of the long-range shielding and mobility that Rakan would typically have with the Xayah.
Yeah, can still combo up and make those big plays, however. Just not quite as effective. Now over to the Unicorn side, last couple seconds tick down, and they lock the Kench for Hylissang. Last time around, he was dying pretty quickly on that Thresh. This time he'll have more of a health bar and shielding to work with, and would they do it?
Oh, lock it in, lock it in, lock it in, lock it in, lock it in. Oh, wait, what am I talking about? Of course they're not going to lock it in. They've already got the Talon.
I was going to say for Xerxe.
I got debated so hard,
no,
man.
I mean, they could do it for Xerxe, right? But, like, nah, it's going to be Gragas. It's boring.
God damn. You got me so excited there, Pyro.
I thought it was going to be for Xerxe.
No,
seriously.
It's never going to be for Xerxe.
All right, well, it's Gragas.
It is Gragas.
Okay.
We still have a Talon, though. We can't complain, Pyro. We still get to cast.
I mean, it's like, what, his 4th game on it now? It's old news.
It's old.
Kane is the new hotness here in the LCS.
Very true. It's very, very true. So, rounding things out for Mysterious Monkeys. Gnar is banned away. Oh, okay. So they could shift things up here.
Ooh, okay. The focus might be on Kikis after all, as the Jax is locked in.
So, I think this is an awful bit.
Okay, tell me why.
Because I think that you're putting too much emphasis on trying to build this split push composition when I don't think that you should. Because what Unicorns of Love demonstrated time and time again is that when 1-3-1 was a popular meta, they were really good at answering it because they would just group mid and kill you. They've also got an answer in the form of Talon. Now, while Talon doesn't necessarily do extremely well against Jax later on, you will not have an easy laning phase against a Cho'gath as a Jax. If he goes for something like an early Blade or an early Gun Blade, then he'll be fine. But I think you should have just drafted Teamfight. Like, I don't know what the reversion to Jarvan is, man. I think it would have been so good in this competition. You have Vladimir, you have Varus, you have so much tools to engage, and then you have so much follow-up. What's a Jax going to do when he gets into the fight? Like, you cannot dive onto Xayah. Talon has too much mobility. Your only options are really focus the front line, and Jax doesn't really do percentage health damage. So I think it was a selfish pick. I think he's tried to pick it because he wants to be a carry, and I don't know if it'll work. I have my doubts, Pyra.
Yeah, well, it has definitely been a series for doubts, absolutely. But it is a gamble for the Monkeys as they find themselves on the precipice of taking down a top-tier team in the Unicorns of Love. And on the other side, the Unicorns were hoping to bounce back from a disappointing Week 7, and instead, they might be the team to fall to Monkeys, which would not be great for their playoff prospects. So there's a lot on the line in this Game 3 to close out Week 8. We will find out how it all shakes out. For the 3rd time, we're going to be heading on to Summoner's Rift.
Of love.
There are a lot of animals in the crowd as well. All right. Well, we're certainly in for some action. This series has been nothing if not full of kills, Vedius.
It certainly has been. We've had a lot of murder on the Rift over the last few games. Finally, the crowd rallies behind the lone Unicorn Yellow.
I mean, there's definitely some monkeys there.
There are indeed some Monkeys fans.
We saw the one backstage earlier on.
We did, like the actual monkey.
The very mysterious
or
monkey.
the flying monkey bat thing that Trevor alluded to.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen Wizard of Oz, right?
I have indeed seen Wizard of Oz.
I know you're a young man, but I didn't know if you were...
Follow the yellow big road.
I mean, you need an R in there, but I'll give you that.
And also tap your little red shoes 3 times, and you can go home.
I mean, this has definitely been a game worthy of Oz, I would say. A lot of weird stuff going on.
Yes. I always... was it the tin that wanted a hat? Is that what he wanted?
No, the wanted a
heart. Sorry.
You're almost there, but you're not spelling it right, Vedius.
Oh, man. Words super difficult today.
Yeah, I mean, it's been one of those series for sure, and you can see it. In both games combined, we've had 33 and 31 kills for both teams, so they've not been shy of action. But we do got to zero in on this Jax pick. You were not a huge fan of this in the pick and ban. What can the Monkeys do to make sure this does get them the win?
Snowball. Just so many ganks need to happen top lane. All I want to see is amazing gank after gank after gank after gank, trying to get this Jax ahead. It is so important to get him rolling, get him a bit of lifesteal in this matchup, because all the Cho'gath is going to do is push, 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 push. And there's very little that you're going to be able to do to really handle it.
Yeah, no kidding. So we'll see what they're able to get done here. In the meantime, Samux and Hylissang are getting pushed back just a little bit. But Hylissang, of course, once he has that gray health, it won't matter too much. Level 2 is now on for Yuki and Dreams. And we do want to keep eyes on Amazing once he finishes off his red buff. If he heads back up towards that top side, try and get that kill out. And, of course, in the mid lane. There's going to be action in every lane, I feel like, Vedius.
So, yeah, let's talk about this mid lane matchup because Vladimir is being used as an answer to the Talon. And some people might be wondering as to why the Vladimir does in fact counter this. So it's extremely difficult at any point in the game for Exileh to all in on this matchup. We don't have time because the gank's happening top lane, Pyra.
All right, leap strike flash, and there it goes, Xerxe. He tried to come in a little bit too late, not able to get it happening, but now that's the first trip up by the Unicorns jungler. Amazing is nowhere to be found as of yet.
So already summon a spell down for Kikis. Vizicsacsi landed a great knockup, and things already looking a little bit dire for that Jax. Now, it's still very early on in the laning phase. I want to see Xerxe make some kind of return gank in the top side of the map. But let's see how things progress. There's a bit of deep vision comes out from Dreams in the enemy half of the jungle.
Yeah, a bit of division in the crowd. Starting to see the Monkeys fans coming out in force, and with good reason. These guys have certainly had better performances over the weeks, and still not the cleanest of executions. We thought all hope might be lost after the Vitality series that didn't really show us a whole lot, but the Monkeys have come out swinging in this series today. Even off the back of a few Unicorns' mistakes, that's got to inspire some confidence when you can close out a game against one of Europe's best.
Yeah, I was impressed with the Mysterious Monkeys early game, in game 2, the utilization of the Shen, the fact they hit level 6 and they immediately ulted bot lane, the fact that Maokai ulti was ready to try and lock up a lot of the low mobility members. I thought it was really well played overall. And I want to see them try and repeat that kind of early game success. And they can do it, but they just need to invest in the top side of the map. I'm super skeptical of this Jax pick. I have no idea what he's going to do in these team fights. I personally think he's going to be pretty useless, but we'll see. You know, I've been proved wrong before.
I mean, we've seen a lot of useless Jax in team fights.
Yes.
Let's
Yes,
be
we
honest
have.
here. And they're playing for a defensive start, right? Because like there's 3 Doran shields. Obviously, there's some level of standardness on there. As the crowd is extremely excited for one Mysterious Monkey to be going through, but the rest of them on the Rift right now, it's going to be a holding pattern until we start to see those plays. Amazing a little bit occupied at the moment instead of trying to make a play up towards the top. Looking at clearing away the Scuttle Crab.
He is like the flying monkey from the Wizard of Oz.
Where are the wings, though? Oh, they don't have wings. Man, it has been a while since I've seen it. I just assumed they had wings.
Well, all right, let's focus in back on the game. We've
Yeah.
had a lot of interaction with the crowd. We've had a lot of monkeys appearing. So far,
we've
we're
seen
seeing
unicorns appear.
Yes, yes, we do. That's exactly right. We want to see the unicorns step up. It's very important for their fans that they do get the win. Knock up.
Stepping forward, it's Dreams. He went in. Samux spit back out, and there's the tongue onto Dreams to stop him up for just a second.
You can see Rakan getting a little annoyed by the fact that Samux is literally eaten in his entirety and put into Hylissang's mouth.
That was a very explicit way to say that.
But also the other thing to say about this mid lane matchup is, look at the amount of harassment that Cozq is throwing down onto Exileh. He's being forced to use all of his mana on just clearing away these waves. He has constant sustain, and once he has that empowered Q, he can just go all in.
Team of Plague and in comes Amazing. Let's see if they can go for him here. He's going to hop the wall. Parkour's there. There's no more follow-up damage, but Amazing was on the way. Amazing just hasn't been able to find the gank so far this game. He's 1 level down on Xerxe. He's sitting at level 5. See, back to the bottom lane. It is Dreams who gets pushed back as he battle dances. Yuki pushing in on this tower. Of course, the Varus range certainly going to be superior to what Samux can bring right now, and now Amazing and Xerxe will run into each other. The barrel's there. He's going to let it expire, but it takes most of the Raptors with it.
Unlucky for Amazing right there. A lot of the experience going to be lost. Now Xerxe makes his way back to the top side. There's a big minion wave. Amazing is reading the play. Wants to be hanging around. Chachi level 6, though.
Oh, boy. Chachi waiting and waiting and waiting, and all of a sudden, in comes the Cho'gath, insta-flash out of Amazing. He's not messing around.
Yeah, good flash. You have to, because you know that if Chachi's willing to go for that kind of play, there has to be some support from the rest of the Unicorns of Love. So Amazing, he doesn't want to risk it. He just disengages. Now, he's gone for the early Mobies once again. He's looking to get some early ganks. Kikis is not that far behind in terms of farm. So I want to see where they try and make plays. They have options in the bottom lane. They have options in the top lane. Mid is a little harder, because Exileh now being level 6, he has quite a lot of escape tools.
Quite a lot of swords, too.
He does.
He is a big fan of blades.
Well, he isn't a, you know, that's in his title, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's just adding to the collection. But yeah, he's going to turn that likely into an early Duskblade of Draktar.
Up in the top side, Kikis, he needs to be able to start dealing the damage. The Counter-Strike comes out, and he actually dodges away the Rupture. Chachi's forced the wrong direction. He does have Flash. Oh, he failed it! Kikis looking for first blood. Donk! And in goes Cozq, looking for Exileh. All of a sudden, the action is unleashed. The pool's on. Exileh's parkouring away, but in comes Dreams, forcing the Flash out. That was a quick bit of action right there.
And Exileh was invisible so long.
Oh! Well, that's one way to get licked. Hylissang finding a kill for himself. Now the barrel bobs Dreams back in, even though Raptors want to get involved. An acquired taste, stacks are on. Dreams is going to be left for dead. In all of the craziness, he tries to two-step his way out.
Someone help him, give him the shield.
There's nobody there coming for him. Oh, this feels bad, man.
He's dead. Oh, not yet. Oh, no.
Oh, no! This is why you don't piss your girlfriend off, folks.
Samux, he's the one that ends up getting the kill in the end. So, let's backtrack. At level 6, Jax has a fair amount of damage. And if you use all your CC trying to clear the wave, Kikis can all in you. Now, this wall is very difficult to flash, but he tried to flash at the long bit. You see that little pointy out bit there, Pirate? You don't want to flash into that. And you can see the disappointment in Chachi's face where he's like, this kind of sucks. Now, Cozq, I believe he had his ulti up, but he actually didn't use it. And now we have another gank up top.
Yeah, we're not going to stop to pause for analysis here because the Cho'gath, well, they're trying to snowball Kikis, and he gets kill number 2 with this time with a little help from his friend.
So this is perfect for the Mysterious Monkeys now. Yes, their bottom lane will fall behind a little bit, but the fact of the matter is, this Jax is starting to get going. TP is unavailable for Chachi. Kikis is equal in farm, but is ahead in kills, and is already working towards that Blade of the Ruin King. And I think this is the best thing to build against Cho'gath, because you naturally stack health. The percentage health damage is going to be super valuable. The lifesteal will help you in the 1v1. And this is great for Mysterious Monkeys, playing exactly towards their win condition.
Yep, snowball the Kikis. Keep him on ahead for the 3rd time in this series. Amazing on this Maokai. With the roaming boots, has made it count. And Unicorns, they may have made a few things happen in this game, but the Mysterious Monkeys game plan is all coming to fruition. Let's see if they can keep it going. We're 9 minutes in right now. There is a gold lead for Mysterious Monkeys. They have tower number 1. Dare I say, this just might be working.
Well, still a lot of the game left. We've seen Jaxes get leads before, then they group up and team fight, and then their effectiveness rapidly declines. So we'll be keeping my eyes on Kikis. Many times during Challenger Series, the go-to strategy for Fnatic Academy was get Kikis ahead and watch him win the game. And that worked many times, but when you play against LCS players, you also have a lot of talented individuals that can match that kind of carry potential. Samux being one of them that we often look at.
That is very true, but at the same time, Kikis was one of those players that him being in Challenger always raised a lot of questions. Like, why wasn't this guy in LCS? He got his chance once again, and he's making big plays now. Speaking of big plays, Samux and Hylissang trying to make it happen down bot, but Yuki and Dreams, we're ready.
And UOL, they want to try and make a play onto Yuki. He did have a fantastic Game 2 performance, and Exileh is roaming around the bottom side of the map, but Yuki definitely a play we want to highlight coming into this final game because, man, his Kalista was good. 9-1 and 9. So much better in terms of the laning phase. His damage per minute nearly matching that of a Cho'gath, which is insane in the current meta.
Yeah.
But the amount of mobility, his kiting in a lot of those fights, very, very impressive. And this is good for the Mysterious Monkeys because we wanted to see the return of the consistent Yuki, the guy that maybe he wouldn't carry your game, but you could rely on him to have a pretty solid performance. And it turns out that not only can he have that solid performance, but he can also carry the game.
Yeah, and if you notice, he can do it while drinking his coffee too. He's a man of many talents, Vedius. But this is so big for the Monkeys. Like, at the end of the season, you're 2 games back on Vitality. You want to avoid the relegation battle in your first LCS split. If they can beat the Unicorns, there is definitely a chance that they can keep this moving forward because everybody in the bottom of that table is going to have to face off against the top-tier teams in that group. Monkeys, it's a big statement battle for them.
And it's also good for other teams in Group B, right? Because they're recognizing the weaknesses that UOL are demonstrating that they have not been adapting post-Rift Rivals. And while there certainly are strengths, Exileh seems to be so much better right now in terms of his consistency and his champion pool. Other members of the team are not matching up to that.
And that is the unfortunate thing for the Unicorns of Love. One thing that's great, though, for the Monkeys, Kikis, he's got his Blade of the Ruin King already. Cozq holding the line down mid, still with that CS lead. And now Exileh is caught.
No flash.
Oh, he is going nowhere, trying to hop that wall. He does, but Cozq following over. One more parkour. He's burning, but Cozq is right on top of him. And he pulls out the last bits of blood. Cozq coming up with a kill.
And remember, the thing about Ooh, this mid lane champion is Dreams. He's going in.
Oh boy, Battle Dance and the quickness is on, and they've got the root up as well. Amazing. This collapse from Mysterious Monkeys just seems incredible, but unfortunately they didn't have the follow-through damage now. Not respecting how much the tower could do as Samux tags in. Featherstorm is on, looking for Cozq. He's able to find him, and the Unicorns turn it around.
Fantastic barrel from Xerxe right there. Completely splitting up Mysterious Monkeys and forcing them to be in a really awkward spot that allowed Unicorns to get this turnaround under the tower and keep their mid-tier 1 alive. Overall, though, really good initial play from Amazing and Cozq, getting that kill down onto the Talon. You want to shut down that early snowball, put him behind as much as you possibly can. But now, the Rift Tower will be started. I don't think Mysterious Monkeys are going to try and jump.
Not necessarily worth.
Nah, mate.
It's all about trying to defend him. I mean, I would say, like, maybe, but nah, they got this.
Nope, they're going to walk away. They will take that. This will be great for taking that mid-tier 1 later on. So let's have a look. Over the wall, he gets spotted on the ward from the river. Unfortunately, Cozq can't be dealing any extra damage, so he flashes over the wall to try and hit him. And because of the bonus movement speed that he has from his mastery, that allows him to chase him down and get that kill. And just keep your eyes on what Xerxe does with the barrel here. So the collapse comes in, and then he gets this great barrel onto Yuki, Cozq, and Kikis. And that just separates Kikis and Yuki from dealing all the damage. Cozq's got no skills left. And then UOL, they just come in for the collapse. And Cozq ends up losing his life because he gets split off from the rest of the team with a really good ulti from Samux. And ends up being a 1-for-1 overall.
Yes, indeed. All right, so 3-3. It is now a slim lead in the gold for Mysterious Monkeys. But they have that X factor, they have that Jax. They've started the snowball going. He's taking his place down bottom, and maybe the mighty Cho'gath has met his match, Vedius.
Well, maybe. I love the Blade of the Ruin King rush. I think it makes so much sense against the Cho. UOL, though, they are setting up around this dragon. Kick is very mindful of how many members there are, and the ping is going down onto that tier 2 in the top lane. They're saying, look, we see what they're going for. We're willing to sacrifice this, if we can get that tower in the top lane.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to leap strike away, so even though they commit quite a lot here to try and get down on the bottom side, they will not get that kill onto the Jax. Tower is going to easily fall, but there's a big wave of minions approaching the top tier 2. Yuki is already at it, going to be joined up by Dreams. And the objective trades continue. Mysterious Monkeys, though, I feel like for the first time in this series, in games 1 and 2, it wasn't quite the same. They're the ones who are making the plays first.
They definitely seem to be pretty proactive right now. Here comes Exileh, though. Does have his
wall, looks for Dreams. Quickness is on, he gets charmed up. But Exileh is fast. Fortunately for him, Dreams is faster.
Oh no, Yuki, you have no flash, but Mysterious Monkeys, they choose to disengage. They don't want to run the risk of overextending. So Exileh, he will not be getting any kills today. Yeah,
this Talon is still a pretty deadly pick once he starts rolling on those kills, but you got to look at that first number next to his Duskblade, a big fat 0 right now. 16 minutes, that's not where Exileh wanted to be, and they early picked this Talon.
It was what they did against Fnatic in Game 3. Exileh was even able to get his second solo kill over Caps on the champion. But he's not quite having that same level of success as UOL coming mid.
Oh, bad time for Cozq to go in, but he's got Pool on. Chemo Plague is taken. Exileh takes the damage from that, but not the most optimal as the Rift Herald is coming in. Shachi gets stopped. Kikis cancels that teleport, and looks like they're going to get another kill for this Jax, but the Cho'gath is angry. The 2-man Rupture knocks up. Blade of the Ruin King is there, and Kikis should be able to get the finishing blow. It actually goes the way of Amazing, but meanwhile, the Rift Herald was wreaking havoc in the mid, and it's able to take down a little bit more damage on that second tier.
That was actually an exquisite play from Kikis. The fact that he is able to interrupt the TP so that Chachi cannot get away means that they don't actually have the TP advantage. We'll have to look back at the replay. I was so focused on what was happening mid in the setup.
Looks about even.
That I didn't actually see where Kikis came from. But the kill goes over to Amazing. Mysterious Monkeys, they do lose the mid tier 1, which is pretty bad for them, considering that they're playing up against Talon. Preferably they want to try and get that before him, because this is going to give him a lot more options to run around the map now. See if he can get back into that snowball state. Look for some squishy targets.
Yeah,
let's have a look. So here we go. So they actually just use the TP to get the punish onto the Cho'gath. He's expecting the TP to come out, and so, he doesn't even flash in. Really good play. And the thing is, the one thing that Kikis doesn't know is when the ulti is coming back up for Chachi. So rather than risk it, he just disengages here. You see, doesn't want to bother getting eaten, and allows Amazing to get the kill. So I think that was pretty smart.
That is one way to get the outplay. So a little bit of help from Amazing now. Mysterious Monkeys are onto the mid. We're going to dash out, respecting the damage that Exileh can bring. Xayah is still starting to roll forward, and it looks like there are 2 unicorns on that dragon as well.
Or at the very least, making their way past the dragon, going on a romantic breeze through the river. Romantic stroll through the river, rather. But a lot of deep vision coming out from the Mysterious Monkey's side. If we can just have a look at some of it, you can see a lot being set up around the blue buff, along with just on the Raptors. So a couple of entrances covered from the side of the Mysterious Monkeys. And the Unicorns of Love, they're matching it with their own vision, covering mainly the top half, setting up for that Baron, which will be spawning in about a minute and a half.
Yep, vision gained by them. And, you know, I want to go back to a point we had in an earlier game. Because the guy who has gotten the kills for Unicorns, well, I'll go back to it in a minute.
Is it Exileh?
It was, but it wasn't this game. Kikis flashes away. It's Samux, actually. He's got 2 and 0 on this Xayah. How is he going to be able to help them turn the tides in the later stages of this game? Because Xayah is not a half-bad team fighter. No,
she's not at all. I think she's an excellent team fighter. She scales extremely well. Her ability to self-peel with her ulti. Hang on. Fight in the bottom lane.
Yep, it's Xayah v Cozq. Feral Scream. Oh, he gets hit by the end of the Rupture. Tides of Blood. Ignite is on. Exileh kills Kikis off screen while it all happens. And Cozq's going to run right into the Tham Kench, but Hylissang is unable to save the life of his mid laner.
He can win this 1v1 though.
The swallow. Can Cozq do it? He's locked up under tower. That is a slow pool. And the Tham Kench is sticky right now, trying to get that lick on, and he does it. Just keep on going, but he is a sustaining Vladimir. This could be a long fight.
Oh my god, this is a very long fight.
Let's jump back in with the mid. Forget what's going on bottom. Tower goes down. Hey! Observers got juked.
I was not actually expecting him to get that kill there.
Splat.
But Exileh died, Kikis died, all kinds of deaths happened.
Yeah.
A lot to recap, we'll get to that in a second. Let's look at the current state of the game. UOL, they've grouped up as 2 members, now 3 in the middle lane. They have a wave, they don't want to push it though. So let's have a look at exactly what happened. So Kikis, remember, he just got ganked. He just used his flash from Exileh and Xerxe coming up top. Oh, he goes to the 1v1. Wow. And because of the invisibility, he ends up dying. And then Amazing's like, haha, I have Moby Boots. I don't care if you have Flash. I kill you.
That is a fast read.
Yes. And this is the 1v1 that we did, in fact, see. I feel like Cozq maybe should have used his Ignite a little earlier. But still, he ends up getting the kill. And the moment he sees Hylissang here, he's like, I will kill you. This sucks.
And then we get the fast forward.
Yeah, he gets thrown underneath the turret as well. Really good play from Hylissang.
All right. Today we learned Catfish greater than Vampire.
And he's going to get a slap into a gobble, into a bleh.
Can't pull out of that.
As Paul would say, bleh.
Well done.
That's an old Tekken reference for you.
That's a pretty good one, man. It's been a while. But there's been a lot of kills back and forth, so it kind of feels like a fighting game right about now.
Oh, it certainly is a fighting game.
Well, we're 21 minutes into this one. No one's looking at the Baron just yet. It has been all about trying to move around and find the side fights. Once again, Kikis 1v1 and up against Xayah in power. Strikes keep on coming. He leaps forward. There's a lot of minions there, and Xayah's going to have to zone him out with the Rupture.
Every time we get these 1v1 fights, in my head, I've always got the Mortal Kombat music playing.
It's the best music for 1v1.
Here we go.
Yep, quickness is on. And test your might. It's Xerxe and Hylissang looking to turn their attention over to Cozq. Barrel's going to knock people, and it is chaos on the Rift right now. Yuki's going to get away from this one, and there's a lot of roots going down onto the Unicorns, and they have caught out Exileh. Nowhere for him to go, and Dreams with a Gleaming Quill is going to finish it off, and Xayah takes down Cozq, and his 2 mid laners dropped already. Hylissang swallowing up. Amazing! And they're able to shred the bark off that tree. He knows there was nothing for him to do. A double kill over to the Cho, and the Unicorns, they eyeball the Baron.
And this is the power of their composition, their ability to turn fights in their favor. Not only because they have the numbers advantage, but because of how aware they are in the game. 2 items finished for Samux. Big, righteous forward finish for Vizicsacsi. There's no jungler on the side of Mysterious Monkeys. They're going to lose this Baron. The question is, can Kikis get that tier 2 tower in exchange?
He's trying. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Goes the... Whatever the hell Xerxe actually has, I can't remember. It's not a real weapon. But the Baron's going down. Kikis keeps going. He's going to be able to shred it. In power, once again, the backs are there, but he's got it at the end of the day. It's a lamppost. That's what it is.
So Mysterious Monkeys, this was the weakness of the Jax. He's not that great in team fights, and Mysterious Monkeys, they overextend in the middle lane, and they try to make a fight happen when they really shouldn't have. So Yuki, he's able to stay alive here, which is a great setup for him because Talon, usually really good at killing low mobility AD carries, but Cozq's just left on the sidelines because Amazing's trying to peel for his AD. There's no support there from Cozq, and if Kikis had been in this fight, maybe they could have actually turned it in their favor, but instead his focus was on getting those towers, but they ended up losing a Baron for it. So Unicorns of Love, they're still behind in the gold, but in terms of the pressure, they definitely should have the advantage, because now they can just group mid and try and force another play.
Yeah, 4 towers taken up by Mysterious Monkeys, starting to make up some of that gold difference here at 23 minutes. However, the Unicorns with this Baron, it's 7-7 in kills. It could be anybody's fight for sure. Ward's clearing out. A little bit of a bait here, but the sapling toss is going to reveal Vizicsacsi, Xerxe, and Exileh trying to make plays. And Hylissang and Samux were not too far behind as they chip away at the vision of Mysterious Monkeys. Cozq killed away by those minions. There's that last outer turret that the Unicorns have yet to crack. Up in the top side, they should be able to do it, as there's really no way they can mount the defense. But for Mysterious Monkeys, it's all about Kikis on that bottom side. Can they buy time for him?
I think it's dangerous for him to just hard commit into this bottom lane, though. Yeah, I think this is smart. Back off. Be with the rest of your team. You just got to stall out this Baron buff for as long as you can. Even if you lose a tier 2 here and there, it's not the end of the world. You still have the side lane advantage. Trinity Force has been completed for the Jax as well. And it's just important that Mysterious Monkeys don't get goaded into going into a full 5v5 team fight. Use Cozq to play on the side lane. Use the Vladimir, knowing that he can win out on these 1v1s. He's now got the Zhonya's too, so he should hold his own against Exileh. Yeah. I think Mysterious Monkeys, there are plenty of win conditions available, but it's a matter of whether or not Unicorns of Love can force them into the fights, and if they can utilize their own win conditions of fight, fight, fight.
Yeah, fight, fight indeed. That is how to describe the Unicorn style. Now Samux, he's not looking too shabby for items either. He has himself a Phantom Dancer, a little bit more defensive, so he's trying to get away from some execution damage. Now, the Unicorns are looking to push their way into tier 2. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Samux and Hilly were coming to the party. In comes Cozq, Blade Caller's out, instant exhaust, and in goes the Jax. We've seen a Jax fail at those team fights before, and Hylissang gets the lick. Meanwhile, tower goes down. They've isolated Amazing from the rest of the pack, and the Unicorns do right what they do best. Take those fights and run it down mid. Cozq trying to finish off Vizicsacsi, but Hylissang says, what do we say to the God of Death? Not today, monkeys.
What did we say, Pyra? Mysterious Monkeys do not want to be goaded into a fight. This is the Baroned up Unicorns of Love squad that is poised and ready to force the 5v5, and it is Mysterious Monkeys that try to make it happen. Samux with the beautiful ultimate to stop any follow-up crowd control from the initiation of Cozq is what turned the fight in their favor. And just keep your eyes on that AD carry. What you'll see is the flash on, immediate silence, and he does not get stunned up. He gets rooted on the backline. You think he's going to die? No. Xerxe with another great barrel, and then you have Hylissang saying, I don't need to provide peel anymore because they can 2v1 Amazing. Just beautiful fight executed from the Unicorns of Love, getting onto those primary targets and making sure that their own carries stay alive for as long as possible.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mysterious Monkeys got a little baited into that one, and sometimes monkeys seem like
they just went in, Pyro. They just tried to fight for no reason at all. Yeah. When they didn't need to. All they had to do was
they saw the Unicorns wanted to do it, and they said they could take it, but that was a bad idea.
It was such a gamble.
So Unicorns have the gold lead now. They've got the tower lead as well. And off the back of that Baron, they were able to do quite a lot, as Amazing does nab back the blue buff himself, but this is starting to get a little hairy here. They just can't provide enough of a front to stop Unicorns from breaking down the front door and allowing Kikis to go through the back.
It's a tough call now for Mysterious Monkeys. What can they do? Because playing side lanes isn't really an option anymore, because now that your base is exposed, it's super easy for Unicorns to just be like, yeah, if you leave side lane, we're just going to run at your base. So they're always going to be forced into these fights, and maybe they can win a team fight, but it's going to require some exceptional execution from the side of Kikis and Cozq. And all UOL have to do is be patient, because they will slowly walk their way into the base. Every time Mysterious Monkeys force the fight, they have so many disengage tools, and they just have to ulti the right skills, and they'll walk out scot-free. So I think that things definitely looking really good for the Unicorns of Love.
But it is worth noting how the Unicorns got into this situation in the first place, Vedius. It was not necessarily being patient. It cost them when they decided to go for that big Baron play last game, and it was turned around by Monkeys. It's a different game today, though, it would appear, and the Unicorns not taking too many chances here, firing down with their siege on this tower. Rooted up, Xerxe, he's able to dash away at the end of it, though. Waves cleared. 1v1 once again. Kikis. Does he fancy his chances up against this later game Cho'gath? Gargoyle Stone Plate alongside the Righteous Glory and a Bramble Vest. I don't know if that's what you want to be hitting.
Ooh, Bramble Vest. That's actually really good into the Jax as well. Gonna apply those Grievous Wounds now. Amazing, taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, he wishes he had one of those himself. Exileh hopping the wall here. Samux pulling back the feathers with the Blade Collar, and they can just afford to wait, keep on pushing. Exileh running from mid to bot constantly.
Keeping those waves pushed in. You can see Mysterious Wings being spread thin, but Jax returned to the top side. They can't afford to push. Oh, instead they're going to
try.
They're going to try. TP is available for both top laners.
Yeah, we've seen Kikis interrupt one before, but he may not win in a 1v1 versus Chachi here. There is a level advantage, of course, for Kikis, but I'm not so sure about that one. Meanwhile, Samux, Xerxe, they found no one at home to defend this turret. So they take tier 2 down on the bottom, and Kikis, of course he can't keep going. Look at that Cho'gath.
Yeah, he doesn't want a hard commit. But look down in the bottom lane, you can see Yuki.
Oh, they're going to swallow up here, and it's going to be Yuki taken out before Dreams can even hit Hylissang. That's going to be a quick pickup, and Monkeys are going to have to hold on for dear life here as the Unicorns are knocking at the door.
007 scoreline for Xerxe. He sneaks his way into the Mysterious Monkey's base. They get the pick onto Yuki now, 5v4. They're going to rush it down.
Teleport for Chachi in here. They want to end this one right here, right now. Into the root he goes, but it doesn't matter. He's perfectly happy. Kikis with the Counter-Strike. Not going to find anyone here as the Hemoplague is on to 2. They're rooted up, though. Chachi, he just doesn't care right now, and they're going to be able to keep on pushing. As soon as the minion wave arrives, but they don't want to go in without any backup.
So Mysterious Monkeys, they throw everything and the kitchen sink at the Unicorns of Love. They end up catching it and realize, oh, hang on, wait a minute. Why are we trying to siege onto the space when we have no minions left? And that was the primary goal. Mysterious Monkeys are trying to delay, wait for Yuki to respawn so that Mysterious Monkeys can still play towards the later part. But I don't even know if they have much of a late game left. Sure, Vladimir gets stronger and stronger as the game progresses, but so does Samux. And so does this Cho'gath. It's going to be even harder to kill this frontline Exileh. He's going to make it even easier to kill these squishies. Let's have a look here. Yeah, Yuki, he just gets ulted on. He's just trying to clear the waves. There's nothing you can do.
A lot of deaths off screen this game, and it certainly has been a drama. And a lot of quick picks here, and we might see a few more as Chachi looking for Amazing, forcing the flash out. In comes Xerxe. Man, he is real fast right now. Amazing, nowhere for him to go, but the quickness is on. He's going to take the Blast Cone Express. Amazing trying to stay alive, but meanwhile, Exileh is going to shut down Yuki. Kikis still bothered on the bottom trying to push this one in, but the time might be running out for the Monkeys.
The red buff going to re-heal Exileh as the Baron is prime and ready. Kikis sitting in the bottom lane. The best thing he can hope for now is trying to get an inhibitor.
Oh, he's got damage. Can they interrupt this Baron right now? There is no Mountain Drakes empowering this, but they certainly have the damage. They have the Cho'gath. They're going to be able to finish it off. Let's see if they give anything for it. One inhibitor tower, but no inhibitor. Kikis walks away.
Yeah, UOL, they're going to get back too quickly. You're now starting to see why I question the Jax pick. Like, later on into the game, sure, it's certainly getting super hard for Yuki to stay alive.
Here's Yuki Death Cam.
Ah, okay, this is also great utilization of the Tham Kench ultimate. Constantly dragging players around the map, being like, hey, do you want to kill Yuki?
He got denied on the parkour.
It's okay.
I mean, it's really troll.
They got the kill.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so Unicorns flexing their muscles. This is their territory. We're post 30 minutes on the game. They turned it in their favor. That is a big Baron for them right now.
Yeah.
And once again, they can just keep pushing. As soon as they find a squishy member, it's really easy for them to collapse on. That Abyssal Voyage is nearly up, but they will probably not even need it. There's a bear inhibitor in the mid. Prime for the take.
Yeah, Unicorns of Love, they're feeling strong. They're ready. They know they can win these fights. And that means the Mysterious Monkeys, they spent so long trying to stall the game out. And now they have to stall even longer. But UOL, they will not give them the time of day. They're more than happy to make these fights happen. Double Righteous Glory, we talked about it a lot. Here we go.
All right, Amazing. He is caught up for just a second, sends out the roots, but there's a lot of damage there, and Samux is going to get it done. Hylissang and Exileh looking for something. The rest of the Monkeys had already retreated, but it's a 5v4 situation.
And the big tank for Mysterious Monkeys is now dead. TP is not available for Chachi, but he's going to go clear out. They know that the bottom wave is slow pushing. Exileh going to go catch the wave up top. And they can play on all three lanes right now. The Unicorns of Love, they have everything that they need. And they have been punishing Mysterious Monkeys so effectively time and time again. Many of these fights they have been playing spectacularly. You just have to look at Samux. This man has had a great series so far. His use of ultimates, his positioning has been what allowed the UOL squad to be able to get so far where they've done this series.
Quiet carry. Able to dish a lot of damage here. Of course, just still stacking it up with those feathers. Now they're onto the top turret. Exileh waiting in the wings to see if he can make something happen as Kikis tries for a desperate charge, but he gets found out instantly. And they turn around now, once again onto Exileh. Can they kick him down? No, he's swallowed up by Hylissang. Exhaust was burned on, and it doesn't matter because he's got a bad case of Hemo Plague. Can the monkeys find anything? Two-man knock up here. Featherstorm Blade Caller pulled back out by Samux. It is a 4v5 right now, and the monkeys, they think they might just be able to do it. Amazing goes in. Chachi's gonna get the knock up. Oh, Chachi's gonna get the eat. I think he liked the taste of that tree right now. And that Cho'gath is running wild. That might be the difference maker here in this game. The monkeys getting swallowed up. Samux with a dominating kill. Dreams without any allies. And they're gonna go straight into the base.
They just cannot get onto Samuel Fernandez fort. They're able to win the fight and they're looking to end the series.
Unicorns of Love. It was a long one. There were questionable decisions. It was far from the cleanest League of Legends we have ever seen. But I just got one thing to say to you, Vedius, and everybody at home. Are you not entertained?
Unicorns do get the 2-1 in the end. Kikis on that Jax was off to a good start, but I feel like that mid lane fight where Mysterious Monkeys tried to force it, they did the classic, Pyra. Let's use Jax in a team fight, and it just did not work out.
Yeah, you need to be able to take those four-mans. Unicorns, trials and tribulations for this team. And a very unexpected, bumpy road for them. Week 7 to week 8, back into the group. They're going to need to clean up some of those mistakes. But for today, they can hold their heads high because they managed to take a win over the Mysterious Monkeys.
Yep. And you can see that they're still sticking to their style. Very much team fight.
They definitely do.
Getting Exileh on a comfort pick where he can have a lot more success. And he nearly cost them that fight at the very end of the game, getting caught out. But the rest of his team is still able to carry through. Xerxe definitely having much better performances in that final game as well. 0, 1, and 11 on that Gragas.
Yeah, I think we've got to give a lot of credit over to Vizicsacsi, though, because, yeah, he made some mistakes. He didn't always flash the right walls. But when it mattered, he was there to eat the right person.
Oh, he was, yeah. Whenever Chachi was around, he always had to be careful of snack time. And all 3 games he played the Cho'gath.
I hope he's full.
Well, I should hope
He was
so
chowing
too.
down.
He certainly was.
Yeah.
But his scoreline, not quite as impressive as it was in game 1, but as you rightly said, his impact is really what mattered. And you can't really show that in the scores because he was eating the right targets. The knockups that he was always landing, the silences onto those key figures was always very impressive to see.
Yeah.
And I feel like that Unicorns of Love as a whole, there's definitely a lot of things to review. But
yeah,
overall,
there's a lot of VOD to watch.
There's
for sure.
definitely, they can still be pretty happy with how the series went.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you've kind of pointed out, alluded to it a couple of times, but we do want to talk about our player of the series. It was Samuel Fernandez Fort. The man, the myth, the legend. He carried quietly a lot of the time, but I mean, he was racking up a lot of kills and not a whole lot of deaths, and he was earning them.
Yeah. Throughout the split, he has been the consistent performer of the Unicorns of Love, slowly climbing his way up to join players like Sven and Reckless, who have been considered for such a long time like the pinnacle of AD carries in Europe.
Yeah.
I feel like that you could definitely make the argument that Samux is on his way up there if he's not there already.
Something to your MVP vote, certainly from last spring. I mean, I think like he has been there. We just don't always see it, and the Unicorns don't always win, so it's kind of hard to tell.
That's very fair. That is very fair. And he has been doing a great job on the Xayah. I was a little skeptical about the Xayah Tom Kench lane. I thought that it was a little, how well is it going to work out? But they did a fantastic job at 7-0-5. Overall, he played exceptionally well, and I was very impressed with what he was able to do in this game.
Certainly, and man, what a week. After an action-filled one, it's time to check out some of our highlights. So here are your LCS big plays, brought to you by Acer. Starting off, Fnatic, they secured a 2-0 win against Misfits Gaming yesterday, and Caps really found his rhythm on the Shadow Reaper. We'll see how that one all went down. That was such a great play. It's still building up, and obviously it's allowed Fnatic to get not only a map control over the place, and Hansama, oh baby, you dead, and Kane is enabled.
Why are you top lane? You have one job, you're Ashe. Don't go to side lane. Kane will kill you. Stay safe.
Yeah, this is not a fun game if you're in
No,
here. We're about to find out again. Oh, it's half his health bar. Just like that, the Umbral Trespass is on, but Maxlor is here. The babysitter can't keep the baby alive.
God
and
damn it,
Caps is getting another kill, but he might give his life for it as the rest of Misfits have reacted. No, he's gonna flash. He's gonna shadow step, and would you believe it? Caps is gonna get out.
Oh my God, okay, so much credit to Caps because he's playing it so well.
Deficio was mad about that one.
Yeah.
Now, in the same series, Soaz came up with a great Gnar engage to secure the victory. Misfits Gaming ran about as fast as they could, but there was no escaping the Fnatic monster. We just cannot fight just yet. And then they look at the clock and it's like, oh, it's 35 minutes.
Look at the source flank.
Yeah, oh, here we go. Hold on, he's almost got Mega himself. There's a nice stun here. Soaz, Power Evil's got to watch himself. Oh, a big Gnar throws them all back. This Flash is flying. And in come the Kittens once again. And now the Jarvan's in front, but a Shockwave pulls in too. Maxlor a little low. Alfari taken down by Reckless. And Fnatic, they jumped on this one. And Misfits, they were out 3 members just like that.
Yeah.
Really impressive fight there from the side of Fnatic. Soaz has been also one of the more consistent performers on the side of Fnatic, and love the different champions that he has been playing and the impact that he had in yesterday's series.
Yeah, he was definitely coming up huge towards the end of that one. Now, we saw a very thrilling finish to Game 1 between the Ninjas in Pajamas and Rocket. NIP's base was in ruins as Faxi attempted to finish off the Nexus.
Minions pushing in for NIP, but no one is there to actually take the minions and use them. There's the Faxi backdoor!
Faxi is teleporting into the Nexus! He's starting to throw the boomerangs! Where are Ninjas in Pajamas? The recalls, they're interrupted! Wadid is down! Shockwave stalls the rest of Rocket! Now Faxi in a 1v1. He's gonna get tired in a second. Flashes out of the Cataclysm. Minions pouring through. This will help out shortly. Faxi's got no flash available. He's being walloped on by Prophet. Taking a lot of damage.
The minions!
They're coming to help. The minions are on the Nexus, but Rocket have not done it.
They're not gonna do it yet. They're so close.
It's not gonna happen. There's no minions today.
My prediction was so close.
The Nexus is the target. There's enough support here for Ninjas in Pajamas. They've killed Wadid. They're looking for Hjarnan. Faxi's left alive. The Nexus is a focus. And NIP win their 3rd game of summer.
Oh man, what a game!
I love how in that whole replay, the only thing that Deficio cared about was my prediction.
Dude, this entire week has been him just being like, WTF. All right, that's going to do it from us here at the caster desk. Let's see what UOL's mid laner has to say after the series.
Thank you very much, Pyra. I also have a very special guest. I am here with Exileh, but I needed to speak to Romain. We've had some strange goings on today on the Rift. One question for you before we get into the full meat of the interview. What's your feelings on other animal mascots beefing on your turf? What is this? We gonna have a fight club soon?
I love it. I think it's great. I think it creates a backstory, and a big part of the job as a manager is backstage, and you never see us. So the fact some managers are going a bit to this mascot position, it's fun. I love it. It was really cool.
It's very fun for us as well as we're viewing. All right, Romain, off you pop. Trot back to the rest of the unicorns. We can get on with the serious interview. That's enough of the monkey business for now. So, Exileh, thank you very much for joining us. After a back-and-forth win, 2-1 on the series, I want to talk about the Talon that you brought out. We saw it last week against Fnatic. How come you're the only EU mid laner playing Talon right now?
I think that the lethality buffs have been a bit overlooked by all the tanks. Also, we saw it with Caps playing Kayn, right? That lethality is insanely strong right now. Especially the champions that profit from Duskblade can make it really work, the lethality buff. And yeah, I think that overall Talon right now can push the wave first, usually in any matchup, level 7 or up. So I think that Talon right now is a pretty good pick.
Looks very strong, especially when you got your hands on it. You took down Caps with the Talon last week. I want to talk a little bit about his Kayn. We were talking before this interview, it was banned in the series. Is that something you've got your eye on as another mid lane pick?
I didn't believe that Kayn was that strong in this patch right now. I think that Kayn is a really strong pick in the next patch, however. But after I saw the Fnatic series, I was really impressed from how Caps played Kayn. He played it more like kind of a poke style of champion, where he just goes in the wall and presses W. Yeah, and I think that he made it work really, really well. And I think that Kayn in general right now, especially with the buffs coming in, I think that the champion is going to be a really powerhouse in the mid lane.
Looks like those lethality champions are quite good in your hands as well. I do want to take a little bit of a different turn in the interview to some of the struggles that unicorns have had over the last week or so. A 2-1 series against Mysterious Monkeys, who are in that bottom spot. Losses to Fnatic and Rocket. What do you attribute some of this rough patch for the unicorns?
Right now, I'm not too sure because I think that as a player, I've struggled a lot in the past few weeks, especially at Rift Rivals and actually even before. And a lot of criticism has got to me to some extent. But yeah, in the end, it's just that you kind of have to look forward and look what you can keep improve. Right now, I think I'm doing better than before. But however, I think that there's still a lot of ceiling to reach that I will aim for.
Certainly a lot of ceiling that we've seen out of the Unicorns, and we've seen some of the adaptations you were talking about. More about your role in the team just beyond being a mid laner. We've heard from the Unicorns that you assumed a bit more of a communication role, maybe a leadership role in-game. What's been the hardest part of that for you, if that is in fact true?
I think that everyone of the team is shot-calling a lot in the first place. But I think that just when we brought in Xerxe and Samux, then we kind of had to go over a lot of stuff in jungle and AD carry because they were new to the competitive environment. And this is where I caught up a lot as well about jungling and in general the map. I think we improved our play from how we played last split and the split before. And so I just, whenever I see an opportunity that we can go for, then I just try to call it, as everyone of the team is doing. So I think I'm just doing the part that I see I can do. And I try to bring this to the team because in the end, if you see a play, then it's your responsibility to call for it.
I'm looking forward to seeing how over time this improves as well as we head closer to playoffs. And importantly with playoffs, this win means you are now tied in series with H2K again at the top of Group B. I want to end on a positive note for you, Exileh. So one last question. What is one strength you have or the Unicorns have that you think H2K doesn't have that'll let you hold on to that top spot?
I think that H2K have been performing really bad in terms of team fighting. I think that they struggle really hard, and on the other end, I think this is the strength of us. So I think that if we get out of laning phase well, which I think that we don't have a too hard time against H2K, then I think that we can just take them down by team fighting and playing the map superiorly.
Certainly seems to be working out. Some of these late game team fights against Mysterious Monkeys were impressive from the Unicorns of Love. That'll do it for us here after a victorious series for Exileh and the rest of the Unicorns. We're going to head over to the post-game lobby.
Welcome everybody to the post-game lobby where I'm joined by Deficio and Unicorns of Love coach Sheepy. Welcome, Sheepy. Glad to have you after a win instead of a loss. Feeling good after that one?
Yeah, well, I'm happy we won, of course, because we also had like 2 losses in a row. So now winning feels good, but I think the way could have been cleaner. But yeah, in the end, happy that we won.
Well, one team that has had a harder series than you, my friend, is Ninjas in Pajamas, but they did find their first series win today.
And it was clean.
They did it.
Game 2 was clean, man. I was actually, so game 1, obviously this happened, the Nexus rush. There was
Every time I see this, by the way, I get the G2 flashback, of us like, oh, if I just did one more auto attack,
You know how many LCS games we've casted where this happened, where the team almost managed to kill the Nexus? One of his first games was...
Yeah, I got 3 last year. I think I've gotten 1 this year.
Yeah,
we're definitely on a roll.
At least there's one of Unicorns of Love in a split.
Of course, for sure, every split. Game 2, however, I think NIP looked super good, man. Great early game from Shook. Hiku got the early kills, even won the 2v2 lane with the Jhin, and they actually managed to win every single team fight right after. So, really good game 2 from NIP. Ooh, disaster for Rocket.
Yeah, definitely not where Rocket wants to be. Of course, NIP not 100% out of contention, we do have to say. But with Rocket losing, it does now lock G2 into playoffs. So G2 are really happy that NIP found a
I'm
win.
sure they were very nervous about losing that playoff spot as well.
Probably. I mean, shaking in their boots, right? However, NIP, yes, praise them. Now I want to head to the opposite side. Back to you in your series against Mysterious Monkeys. You won, but it did not feel like the most confident of wins. You kind of alluded to it earlier. It's good that you guys found that win after a 2 series losing streak. But what's next when it comes to Unicorns of Love in terms of improvement and learning from this series?
I think generally we will just keep going with what we kind of had been doing after Rift Royals, which was like just keep practicing, figuring out the meta, play like new compositions from our end, like with the Talon flanking the backline. And I think generally there's a lot of stuff that we approach correctly. I think we're playing the map well, and we kind of know what we want to do, but we always get sidetracked. Like we just keep doing random stuff.
There's one guy calling, oh, I'm killing this guy over here, and then suddenly...
To be fair, once or twice did that look pretty good. The Tham Kench killing the Vladimir very slowly, I think, was the satisfying thing to watch.
But that's like a really good example of, you know, the kind of randomness factor, and we're trying to getting down the plays which are looking like random and bad, and you know, but overall the macro play was good there because he is fighting in a 1v1 against Vladimir and Tham Kench is ultimating, so it's 2 versus 1, and he has exhaust, so it should be fine, but we need to execute it better, and the idea needs to come earlier. So yeah, we'll just push as hard as we can for playoffs.
So for a team that now for basically 2 years have been having a bit of this random factor, you know, with Hylissang and Vizicsacsi being in the lineup and you as a coach since the start, how do you now practice reducing that random factor? Like, are you standing behind them in scrims, and if they make a random call, you kind of go like, no. slow macro.
That's one. Why is it every time we have a coach on? Probably Sheepy, you're just like, do you beat your players?
Yes.
Do you just hit them every time?
Just make the sound behind him. Like,
this is nowadays entertainment. He's pushing us, you know.
Hey, okay, so how do you actually like kind of reduce the random factor?
I think the leash is very loose in like the Unicorns of Love, not in terms of, you know, but I mean what they can do. And the nice thing is all of them are playing like daily basis champions and figuring new stuff out. So we can always take something that we're doing that looks kind of random and try to implement it. And I think that's the edge that can take you over other teams. So a lot of stuff that looks random to us or looks random to other people, we can implement, and then actually it gives us the edge. Like, let's say we play against SKT and we're playing like good macro and whatnot, and this is like the 10 plays we have left, like that you can always rely on. We have like 20. But getting, you know, always being so focused on what of those 20 plays you should do is extremely difficult. If you have only like 1 or 2 that you can do, you know, it's very easy to play the map, and then it can look easier. But yeah, so in terms of us improving, it's really difficult. I think everyone has like, you know, goes a little bit in the different direction, and that we force them all in the same way. But I think it also makes for a really great place that, you know, only our team can deliver, and I think that's also something fans realize. So
I think it's exciting. I think it's really exciting. And sometimes you guys do pull off these plays that, for many people on paper, look insane, something that you've probably practiced and rehearsed. But at the same time, as you mentioned earlier, there's also some of those plays that fall apart. And I'm wondering, how do you confidently decide that, like, this crazy thing needs to be added to our playbook? Because like SKT are a wonderful team, right? I think that's a good example. I find it hard to believe that SKT, theoretically, maybe not right now, but in the past, the greatest team in the world, isn't also going to have, like, hasn't already considered something this, you know, out there and crazy, and hasn't implemented in their style. What makes these plays good, and what makes them unique to Unicorns of Love? Like, what is it about your team that makes it so that another team can't just copy this style and implement it into their own team?
I think we're just too much over the place. I mean, it sounds like a bad thing, but we have really explored like in-depth stuff where other people would probably not look for. I think that SKT and overall Korea seems really strong. I mean, SKT right now also seems to be like kind of falling apart, you know, and having some losses there. I mean, I think they're qualified now still.
I mean, they're fairly safe, but they haven't like locked in, you know, world spot yet.
Yeah, but for example, that's a really good example. Like, they seem to be the #1 team always and ever, and now they went in some losses. So I think that the main strength of Korea is that the macro game, like understanding what to do on the map right now, is good. They see that and they analyze that faster than we do, because they just have like all this practice coming in, and they're very, very strict towards that.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe very scary, because that's usually the thing that just wins you games.
And admittedly, I sidetracked us a little bit. I was mostly using that as a as a theoretical example, but good to kind of touch briefly on the struggles of SKT and Korea. But bringing it back to Europe, I'm curious. You've mentioned some of the inconsistencies, and we on the broadcast have mentioned some of them too, and I want to see how those line up. We see, obviously, Hylissang have games like he did last game on the Tham Kench, where he destroys people, and the Tham Kench is executed beautifully. And then we also have these games on the other side where he is hyper-aggressive. Is this just the risk of Hylissang as a player, is that he's going to, some games, make those aggressive plays, and they're going to be brilliant, and they're going to win you the game? Is it that coin flip, or is this, or are some of those more risky plays that backfire, is that an example of some of the things that you're trying to cut out, to cut back on?
I like to coach that way more than the other way around. Let's say you have a very timid player that you need to try to build up, That's usually a little bit harder than just having like a diamond that you need to like, or like a stone and I don't know, like that you have
There's a stone you
shape.
throw them at people.
No, stop throwing things at people. Not a diamond you need to polish, but a play something you need to
Exactly, and I
build
think
up.
Hilly has like so many tendencies that are extremely interesting to see and that like can flourish really well if you like take the time for that. But he is just going like a lot of places, and I think now he's learning how to use that in the right way, and he's finding like picks that other people would not, and he has like this kind of confidence, and that's so exciting to coach because you can just push with a lot of energy and just with everybody and learn insane amount other than everyone is like, oh yeah, maybe I could have done this here or something. Like, it's way faster, it's way more effective, and it's way more fun the way. And so I think if everyone is like, you know, it's difficult to coach, but I think it's like very giving and it's very fun.
I mean, I just think also to the point you were trying to make earlier about, you know, the macro teams and so on, or like how other teams approach macro compared to maybe unicorns. Like a lot of it for me comes down to discipline in a way. I think one of the big strengths of a lot of the top Korean teams is if they have a check, like a book of saying like there are 5 steps we need to do before we can get deep vision, you know, push out the lane, then move in as 2 or 3 guys at the same time, spot the enemy, all these kind of things, they will follow that really well. I think a lot of European teams are trying to do the same, but it's difficult to not sometimes forget a little step or 2 in there. I think Unicorn's actually one of the reasons you guys can do this kind of play style, because Hylissang is the kind of player as well who is super aggressive. Like, while there's still some discipline, it's not the same kind. It feels to me like it can sometimes be like there are 5 steps in front of us. Right now, Hylissang says, I don't care about those 5 steps because I'm seeing a guy who's out of position, so I'm going to call this guy needs to die right now. And then you skip the 5 steps and you make that play, which surprises a lot of teams. Take H2K as an example. They like to try and follow the steps. So they're looking, being like, okay, Unicorns will push the lane now. Then they will get vision. Oh, wait, Hylissang is over there killing our AD carry. What has happened, you know? And you get these really random, aggressive moves that can be hard to react to because you're not practicing against that style on stage very often.
Sheepy, do you think that's a fair characterization of some of the way that you guys like to play a game, that you're aware often of these 5 steps, but you're willing to just throw them aside if you see an opportunity?
Yes, and I like that's like really the most honest word for our team is we have really this balance or like perfect imbalance between doing the steps. Like there is something like in chess as well, you know, where you are like playing around this area right now is very beneficial. Like, why would you move this if you are like under attack here? And we're starting to learn, like, always look what makes the most sense, you know, like there's 50 minions top lane, then top lane has like an importance and we need to realize this. But we're getting like the extra on top as well, like, which is we're not just doing the 5 steps, but every time we're doing the 5 steps, we're looking like for 10 other things as well. So I think it's a little bit scary to perfect, but I think it always makes for having an advantage in some ways. And I think this is the strength of Unicorns of Love, where if we're having like a really good run and like everyone's very focused, we are a team that is like very hard to gouge and to approach. So I think if people are playing against us, they feel that as well, that they have to really be careful. And I think also that our decision making is really good mid to late game. I mean, the Nashor this time was like very, very, very a bad example for that.
Bold strategy.
We call it bold strategy. But I mean, afterwards you see as well, we go like 6-7K behind and then we're still winning games. And I think that is because people, you know, are extremely active and are extremely good on the map.
Do you think, I'm going to ask this straight away, like, do you think it's a bad thing that European teams, despite being 6-7K gold ahead, are still losing team fights to Unicorns of Love? Is this because these teams are just not as good as maybe they should be? Or is it just because you guys are that much better at playing team fights?
I think it's like, we're always picking champions that can always win in late game if you play correctly. So this is something we're doing really well. And I think that other teams are sometimes giving us a small opening and they think that we're not going to take it, but we're going to take it. And we have people that are looking out for those. Like Hilly, if he has Rakan and you make a misstep, he will just flash ultimate W. And then either way we win or we lose, and most likely we're gonna have a good fight because he knows when to engage.
Right.
I'm curious, is this something that you think that European teams, let's say some of them, let's say for instance Mysterious Monkeys, do you think that they leave those same openings against other teams and other teams aren't 100% confident in exploiting and going all in on that small opening? Or is it that just sometimes, is it just the games that you're looking at are the games where Unicorns of Love is involved? Like, let's say Fnatic plays G2, Fnatic is cleanly snowballing, G2 maybe does have an opportunity to turn this back, but they don't take it because they don't have the same level of gusto, of confidence that the Unicorns of Love might have.
I think so, because Fnatic's playstyle a bit ago was a little bit more like our playstyle, where they've been looking like very actively to snowball on with tactics that are not conventional. Like usually you group mid-side, you get control and so on. But Fnatic went a lot over side waves and like trying to assassinate people and standing in Fnatic bushes, and that was super interesting. And now they favor more the style of doing that over mid lane, which is more central. So I think that's a good decision for them winning-wise. Like it should pay off in the long run. However, I think they should implement both and make their style even stronger. I think abandoning like something that has some kind of that worked also in some way is not a good idea. It just makes you like weaker. So I honestly believe right now also Europe is extremely interesting. For example, against Mysterious Monkeys, we had so much time to calculate that it felt like very comfortable. But the top teams like Fnatic, G2 are like always pushing you to make a decision, and that is way, way harder because we're looking at like 10 places and 5 from them are like easy to calculate. Like the game is like calculating all the time. But if the team just keeps forcing you, then there's really high chance that you're gonna fail at some point. So against those teams, we have way harder time. Against for example, the best example was we had Nashor, and we took like 3 minutes or 4 minutes to get a bot lane second tier turret. That should have been faster, but they didn't even punish, so we could like just keep on going.
And I'm just curious to clarify again. So do you feel like the difference between the bottom and the top teams is not that these opportunities don't exist, but just the window to take advantage of them is so much smaller?
And I think that the top teams are just looking at the right places. I think the bottom tier teams are not even aware of like where's an opening possibly coming up. And I think that the top tier teams are really looking out for, okay, they pushed mid lane, they're going top side now, like on the entire way they had like vision here, and they make like very intricate plans that follow what the enemy team should be doing, and then you see like fights according to this. But for example, when we studied there was like Dreams was getting caught a lot in positions where he shouldn't have been because there was no relevance to be there, and you see that a lot in bottom tier teams where it's basically fighting for nothing. And I think this is also where a game can get boring if you're just constantly contesting just for the case of fighting, which we did a lot in the past.
I mean, a lot of teams in Europe, but also around the world, and something I try and follow as well a little bit is you look at the risk and the reward whenever you make a play. And obviously there's the low risk plays that gives you a small reward. Like those are not always too relevant, but then there's the medium risk and the high risk plays, and you got to look at what reward you're getting. And I feel like a lot of top teams are really good at making sure whenever they make a play, it's never a high-risk play they are making. They always try and turn it into a low to medium risk with still a great reward in it. So an example of that is, let's say you want to set up a tower dive against the enemy bottom lane. Well, you don't really want to do that if the enemy top laner has TP ready as well, enemy team has a Galio mid lane or something like that. So tower diving is extremely high risk. The reward is still awesome. You get kills, you get tower. Great, but the risk is very high. So they wait, okay, hey, we just forced this guy to use teleport. Galio's ulti is on cooldown. Now the risk is no longer high, now it's actually very low. And they didn't go for the play, they get the same reward. And these kind of setups from the top teams, I feel like they are really good at doing that. And a lot of the bottom teams are not able to kind of put themselves in the same situation, so they end up coin flipping a lot, where they're like 50-50 on the play. They say, let's go for this dive. Don't care about the globals. All in. Yeah. I think unicorns of love like to coin flip too, and then try and turn it into their favor by being fast and being the first one to react. And that's some of the times reason we get inconsistent games from some of these teams where they look great one day and then the next day it falls apart a little bit because the plays didn't actually work, the 50-50 plays.
Yeah, and just to step onto this, I mean, maybe that's like really interesting to also see in the future, but exactly the way League of Legends is working right now is the enemy and you are both like having a range of possibilities. Yes. You can do like go bot lane, go mid lane, go top lane. Like people can go 5 people top. You can legit do this. This is like something that needs to be considered. But is it good? Like generally speaking, no. But that needs to be something that's like discussed and has been discussed in our team as well, and every team as well. So you're basically having like all these options, and I think that the top teams are just so good at selecting the decisions you want to force the enemy into. Like, do you want to defend bot lane? All right, if you do this, then we push mid lane first again. We can get vision bot side.
Yep.
And you're slowly aggravating lead. And if it's a bad team, then they will just do constantly, like from the 2 choices, they have the worst one. And so let's say they don't defend bot lane, you just get bot lane turret for free. A good team would like stall that out longer. And yeah, I think that's like the strength, and that's also what most analysts has been saying about like Korean teams. They are just really good at stopping snowballs because they keep doing the right decisions, and they're really good at snowballing because they know exactly what are the good decisions.
Definitely the fair case. Well, we've been talking a lot about top teams, so it's time to turn our attention elsewhere now. Coming into the split, we had some very interesting power rankings. I'd say very different than they are now. So we're going to take a chance. Deficio put out some of those power rankings. We're going to take a chance to make our own power rankings so we can bring up the standings. The first thing that we're going to look at is based on the current standings, if we did not have a two-group system, we'll see exactly where each of these teams would be ranked. You can see it right now. Fnatic, H2K, G2 Esports, of course, match differential is counted in there. And I want to take a chance to go through each of these teams and talk about which ones we feel are correct, where we think teams should be placed. I think the easiest one for me, honestly, starting at first place, is their thoughts on Fnatic. Are they the best team right now in Europe?
Right now, Fnatic, they are the best team in Europe. I think at the moment, while they did abandon the style they played before Rift Rivals, the new AD carry picks, like the standard AD carry picks for Reckless, has actually given Fnatic a much stronger 2v2 bottom lane, which is something they can utilize effectively. And I think Caps is actually playing extremely well at the moment. So the current meta seems to be okay for Fnatic, and they still look very good.
Sheepy, would you agree? Fnatic right now, we don't have to talk about by how many margins, but would you say they are the #1 team in Europe?
I mean, deservedly so, because they have just like the most wins. They have been most consistent. They've been beating like all the teams. So I think it's fair to put Fnatic on the top. And unless other teams show up and beat them, straight up, I think they are comfortably sitting there at the top.
All right, well, that was the easy one. It gets progressively harder from here, I think it's safe to say. Now, H2K is currently ranked above G2 based on game differential here, but who do we think is the second best team in Europe right now? Any takers?
I think G2 Esports are the second best team in Europe. They just played against H2K like a week ago, won that series. I think also G2 Esports are looking closer to the form they had last split, not exactly at the MSI peak just yet, but I think the meta is great for them with Trick playing a lot of tanks. And I also think right now that if H2K and G2 Esports played each other, I think G2 Esports will have at least a slight edge over H2K in different elements of the game. So I think they are the second best team in Europe, and they're the only ones who can challenge Fnatic right now.
All right, do you think that's fair to say, Sheepy? Do you think G2 coming back into form? We know that they're looking stronger. They're definitely winning a lot more games, but second place, where you feel like they belong, is there another team that you think may be more deserving of second best in Europe?
I think that G2 right now has like this upward drift. I think so too, that the Trick is doing more now in the jungle, having like a little bit more comfortable picks. And I think that G2 generally in the beginning of the split is the only reason we would even doubt them. Like if you would just cut that off, then I think G2 is looking kind of like usual. And yeah, I think the only downside for G2 is that they need to still play more games and like show more consistency, because they have been looking bad in the beginning of the split, and you can't just like put that away. So I think that's right now deservedly so they're on the second spot, but I would really love to see more games from them, and just to see how they fare over a longer period of time. And yeah, I think that's still very, very fair.
All right, now the next 4 teams I think are it's safe to say H2K, Unicorns, Love, Splice, Misfits. This is much more difficult than I think the vast majority. So if you'll amuse me, I'd like to jump to the bottom of the table, and I want to focus our main attention at the middle to round things out. So I want to talk about bottom 4. Is there anything between Vitality, Roccat, Mysterious Monkeys, Ninjas in Pajamas, based on what we've seen this week, based on what we've seen in the past? Does this look out of order to you? Is it Vitality 6, Roccat 7, or rather Vitality 7, Roccat 8, Mysterious Monkeys 9, Ninjas in Pajamas 10?
Is Monkeys better than Roccat right now?
I'm not sure. We just played against them, right? I mean, they took a game of Unicorns of Lost, so...
First place! Straight away.
But Rocket took 2, so
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit hard. I think that, sadly, NIP has always been like losing like 1 to 10 is their record right now, I think.
Yeah.
They have been consistently winning early games, though, even against the top teams. But I'm not sure if that's a sign of a strong team if you win early and then still lose the games. I think we've been even joking about this, that's a little bit unlucky for NIP that they always, lose in the late game. But it's actually nice to see that they are winning early games. So, but they are 110, so it's really, really hard.
It's hard to move them.
It's hard to move them up there. Yeah, I think Rocket showed most promise against top teams.
Yeah.
And Mysterious Monkeys is just like between, not as bad as NIP, but Rocket at least took games from top teams, so
That's fair. I think keeping like this is fair. I actually think there's quite a jump from Vitality to the bottom 3. some people might even try and make a case for Vitality almost sneaking into top 6, but I think that is difficult to say because we haven't seen them, destroy Splice or Misfits Gaming. So I think Vitality is sitting in the correct spot, but they are a step above the 3 guys above them, in my opinion. Oh, sorry, under them, in my opinion.
All right. Looks like some agreement there in terms of the bottom of the table. Now we get to the meat of the discussion. This is my favorite. So this one's going to be tough, I think, to go through. So what I would like, before we start the main discussion, I just want each of you to take a chance, list your third, your fourth, your fifth, and your sixth in your preferred order, and then we can discuss the differences there, because I think we'll get a little too into the nitty-gritty if you guys start to debate on every position, although we will get the chance. So, Sheepy, I'd like to start with you. 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you think it stacks up in Europe right now?
I think that we have not been showing too much consistency, but in scrims we've been performing really well, also against H2K, so I would almost put us on 3rd place. And I think also when we are watching Fnatic in G2, we always feel that there's like opportunities that we could abuse against them. However, we didn't show that like so convincingly yet. I still think that our series, for example, against Fnatic was totally winnable from our end as well. But yeah, props to always to the winner. With H2K, it's really hard to call because I mean they've been doing better, I guess, and I mean it's a toss-up between those two. I think for Splice and Misfits, I think they are like deservedly so on those 2 positions. So I would rank Splice a bit higher because I don't know, they just look a little bit more consistent, and also from the past, I think they own a little bit more respect than Misfits.
All right, Unicorns 11, 3rd place. You guys have been having, I think, a little bit of a shakier season. Deficio, I'm curious, what your rankings would you be? Would you agree? Would you put Unicorns 11 the 3rd best team? Who would you put in that slot?
I would put H2K as number 3 right now. The faith is all in H2K at the moment. I actually think they played super well lately. I know you're sitting right next to me.
Where's the faith?
It makes it hard, but at the same time, I think H2K has really shown that the last few weeks they have looked super good. The team fighting is much better in the late game, also with this meta where you draft a lot of team fighting comps, which seems to really benefit them. And Jankos on tanks is not an issue at all. He's still finding tons of ganks in the early game. So I actually think H2K look very well-rounded right now.
Let's say this. If H2K can find the consistency that they showed in their most recent series, Sheepy, would you think it's fair that they're in the 3rd place, or do you think Unicorns of Love still has that? Because I think the biggest question with H2K has been consistency.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the same for G2. I think if we just like cut off like the weeks, before the last weeks, then I think that they look way stronger than, over the entire split looking. So I think that's why the list right now is really fair. And we're like, we're putting right now how it is. And I think we have also shown some inconsistencies. I mean, the Nash throw, and some games just, that ends you the games. I mean, we lost also the game, but I mean, against every team, that's like unforgivable. And if that happens in playoffs like twice or like 3 times, you're just out. So we need to really be more consistent with like those major calls. And I think H2K didn't show like this kind of throw, but I think also on the opposite, if we are more consistent with Unicorns of Love, I think we have just shown like more different strengths. And if we can actually tap into that, I think then we can be like one of the strongest teams in Europe. But consistency is really hard to achieve with that playstyle.
To round this out, really to put a cap on this, 3rd, 4th, definitely debatable. Unicorns of Love or H2K. There's arguments to be made there depending on which team can find consistency. But the rest of the list as it stands, we are pretty much in agreement.
I mean, I think the only other thing you could kind of argue for right now, and this is obviously because we don't know how well you guys are doing in scrims, but from pure stage performance the last few weeks, like after Rift Rivals as an example, Splice and Misfits Gaming, I don't think they're very far away from you guys in terms of stage performance. I actually think before this week, when we saw Splice and Misfits Gaming lose 2-0 in both their series quite convincingly, you could definitely make a case for them actually being higher up in the rankings. And Splice last time they did beat you guys when you guys were actually looking really good. You guys obviously playing each other very soon as well. And if they win that game suddenly and look really good once again, trying to maybe rely a bit more, also rely as much on copy as they did this week, suddenly I actually think Splice, you can make a case for them being even higher on this list. And Misfits Gaming, sadly to me, are too reliant on just one style and a little too many question marks in terms of their actual execution, especially when they get challenged. I didn't say we should move.
No, don't. He's in their clothes. He's in their clothes. Put him back. Come on.
You
grab the team. I love you.
Whatever, man.
You can definitely make the case for it.
All right, so we're gonna let's lock this in. We can say that 3 through 6, incredibly close, I think we can say. Regardless of your interpretation, depends on execution, depends on the weeks to come. 1 and 2 feel pretty set, although there is still some arguments for G2 potentially dropping or going up, depending on how they can find their consistency. But overall, I think pretty solid list, pretty solid impressions, especially as we get closer to playoff. Of course, you guys can let us know what you think. Head on over to social media. Give us a shout out. Let you know. Maybe Deficio's wrong. Maybe Sheepy's wrong. Maybe I'm wrong for
maybe Deficio's wrong.
Trying to make a list.
I think Drakos is wrong as the host. Where's your opinion?
The easiest way.
So I didn't put my name on the list.
Yes.
That's smart,
that's so. He's just. I put Fnatic in the bottom. Publish it.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Well, we'll soon have the final results as we have 2 weeks left in the summer split with a close race in both groups. The stage is set for an explosive finish. We'll hear the standings, guys. We'll take a chance to look at them. 2 weeks left. Take a chance to see how each of the teams are stacking up. Of course, Group A feels like how it's going to finish to me. Don't get me wrong. I know there's a chance for Rocket. I know there is a chance.
They just lost to NIP. There's barely a chance for Rocket. Like, I'm just gonna say, like, they need to find something crazy right now to actually do this. They have to take down teams above them.
But Rocket has shown.
They have done it in the past. I know, but
the win streak.
Exactly.
They look so bad against NIP today. Like, I can't actually believe they can consistently take down the teams above them to finish above Misfits Gaming. And Misfits play.
And to be fair to Rocket, we've seen them improve, right? We've seen them make massive improvements. We saw it last split, but that was. They had a week off. They brought in, new mental coach to help out the team.
They got momentum, confidence.
Momentum, confidence, great buzzwords. I feel like we're not going to maybe see the same thing this time around.
Great casting.
Group B, the other one on the opposite side of the coin. Sheepy, I'm curious.
Can we get it back up?
Yeah, one more time. Give us one more through it. Where do you think Unicorns of Love are going to finish? Where do you think Unicorns of Love round up the split? Do you feel confident that you guys can take first place back and get the bye?
It's really, really difficult. I think that more important than this question is how is our performance by the end of the split. That's way more important. Like I'm sure we can like win games 2-1 and then it's like a little bit here and there because our style is just very hard to handle. And I think that if teams are facing us, they are not like, 100% we're going to beat the Unicorns of Love. So yeah, but I'm way more interested how we're gonna improve because right now it's just not enough. And I just want to reiterate, like, not just looking like locally here against like G2 and Fnatic and H2K. If we're going to Worlds and we're winning, let's say 3-2 and make it somehow second place and lose like 3-0, and we go to Worlds, I mean that's also you're not very confident into that. So I really want to improve our performance. That's a way bigger question for me and like way stronger showing. But yes, obviously I think we can make first place, but on the flip side I can also see us like losing 2 games if our performance is like not improving.
I actually want to ask you because you guys have obviously never made Worlds but been so close multiple times.
Yes, also this is in the back of my head. That's why
I'm just going to say it again. Is this year, or this, let's say the summer split, is that just a failure if you guys do not make Worlds? After making the final in the spring split and, sitting as the top team for such a long time in summer split, is it a failure if you don't make Worlds?
Let's say
I would like to say, I would like to put it like not that harsh because, we improved a lot and we did our best and whatnot. But I think that people will take it extremely hard on themselves because that's really has been a goal from a lot of us, especially for Hylissang and me, has been like a big goal for a long, long time. So I think we will see that as a failure. And I think Xerxe and Samux and Xayah are very hungry for wins as well. So obviously they will see it as themselves as a failure. And even if you don't do it initially and you say, okay, that's like fine, then over the time where you're sitting home and you're watching Worlds, then it will be like very, very hard on you. But I think that's also a motivating thing. And I can speak from my experience because that has happened to us, So yeah, but to say it like from my heart, I really, really want to make Worlds. I really want to be a strong performing team, and I really want to improve and take the opportunity.
Yeah, and it's really good to hear that you think that the team needs to make these big improvements moving forward. It's like just great to hear from a top team that even though you are currently contesting to be a top team in Europe, that you are hungry for more as a lineup. Well, fantastic discussion, gentlemen. I want to turn our attention towards next week and the games that are upcoming. There's still so much to be decided, so let's take a look at the upcoming matches. I think we can go right to Unicorns of Love versus Splice since we have you here, Sheepy. Feels like an opportunity for the team to prove, show that growth, show that improvement.
Yes, and it's really great that we have this match, and I think we have H2K the week after as well. Yeah. So those are really great games to look forward. And also, doesn't matter really the score, but I am expecting that both teams are really looking to like just improve and like show their strongest performance. And when like this is clashing, that's usually making for really great games. And also it means a lot to the people. Like it means really a lot to us to perform well and like play good in those games. So we will really try to improve for this year. So for us, you know, that's the best view I can give. It will be extremely interesting.
I love the fact that Group B right now has 3 teams, or has 3 teams where effectively everyone can beat each other and everyone can still take first place. Because obviously getting the bye is fantastic. You're locked in semi-final, you're locked in top 4. You
avoid G2.
You avoid G2, you're going to go to Paris. But then also like looking at, you know, the group here, because 3rd place will most likely play G2 in a quarterfinal. So getting that 3rd place compared to playing against Misfits Gaming, like it's quite a big difference. We just had our list with G2 being locked in 2nd without a whole lot of discussion around it. That is a huge difference when it comes to making top 4. So Splice, HK, Unicorns, like one of those teams will have to face G2 in a quarterfinal, or potentially in the quarterfinal, or Fnatic, you know, if they don't lock in first, which would be unexpected by now. So that is super tough, and it means there's so much to play for in Group B in terms of the seeding.
Yeah, and of course,
the pressure. I just like think about it. Oh my God, yeah, really.
Sheepy, don't crumble under the pressure. We don't just remind you that the pressure is now on.
Not that it's really important, but you know all of those things.
You want to go to Worlds, you know, top 4.
Yeah, so, okay, we have to do even better.
All right, well, let's divert attention away from the pressure of the EU LCS. Of course, there are a bunch of teams now fighting to come into the EU LCS, and they're going to be playing in the EU Challenger Series playoffs. We're going to see tomorrow Wind and Rain versus Giants, and of course, Sunday, the 6th of August, Schalke versus Team RB. Sheepy, have you gotten the chance to watch any of the Challenger Series? Do you have an impression of any of these teams coming back? Would you like to see Giants or Schalke again in the LCS?
I have not seen too much because there's just too many competitive and interesting regions right now. I mean, what's going on in Korea is super interesting as well. And since NA beat us, I have to watch the games as well, you know, to just learn from the better region. Yeah, so I have not come around to watch many of the Challenger Series games. I think I just watch, you know, whatever pops up, what somebody sends me. But yeah, I think it's great if some of the professional organizations are coming in, like Schalke, for example, back to LCS. It would also be a really great storyline, you know, first like not being in the LCS, going down, hanging on to their challenger spot, really showing faith, and then coming back. And also the first time they had like an undefeated record and then they dropped out like this. So I would love to you know, restore a bit of faith towards Schalke if they could make it back. But yeah, it's totally up to them. And if they can't make it, then they can't make it. But you know, that would be a great name to have.
Yeah, definitely going to be the case. Well, that was all from us here in Week 8. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back on Thursday with more EU LCS action. But you better be turning in tomorrow for that Challenger playoff.
How many viewers do you guys think it is right now? 5,000. Huh? 5,000. Yeah, not the best match.
Sprattle's able to escape, and second blood will be taken by Sprattle.
Go, Chris! Go, Chris! Oh, it's one hit, man.
Oh! Today! That's a flash engage from Prophet, a great shockwave, it's a shutdown onto Betsy! The Glacial Prison goes wide, and with Did's quickness, he's buying some time. The Nexus is a focus, and NIP win their 3rd game of summer. But Did, EQ starts firing, the curtains are called. Shot number 3, tags Yana. Oh! Kills him!
You know? Oh, what? Yeah, I don't know, they're fighting also.
Justice Punch comes down from Betsy. Sparkle goes over the wall. He knocks EQ in. Yonan rather. Yonan's taken down. That was a great play from Sparkle. The ninjas in pajamas are doing the unthinkable. Where were you when NIP won their 1st series of summer?
We'll find out who reigns supreme between the Unicorns and the Mysterious Monkeys as we hit the rift for game number 1. Hopping and skipping and throwing those blades out. Roots down. Chachi, they get the hop over. It doesn't matter. And Xerxe leading the charge. Amazing dreams. Yuki all silence. All back to the safety or not of their turret. Down goes one Nexus turret. And down goes Yuki. Well, that's your answer. Goodbye, dreams. The Unicorns of Love going 1-0 up in the series.
Gragas. Nice. Striking good.
Trust.
And made him smack.
Oh shit, can they take him out? He is so big, and he's getting it eat onto Dreams, but Yuki is bigger. A big Baron mistake allows them to turn it around, and we're going to game 3. Cho'gath is angry. The two-man Rupture knocks up. Blade of the Rune King is there, and Kikis should be able to get the finishing blow.
Oh my bad. I wanted
Of the pack, and the Unicorns do right what they do best. Take those fights and run it down mid.
Nice, this guy.
But I just got one thing to say to you, Vedius, and everybody at home. Are you not entertained?